Hey Jeff, what did you see from this game once you watched the film?
Um, I thought our kids, again, gave amazing effort, and I was extremely proud of how they just hung in there and kept battling. Uh, it's probably the first time the entire year that our special teams and our defense did not set our offense up with great field position the entire ball game, and our offense had to, carry their own weight and drive long fields and execute some long drives. And I was very pleased with how much more consistent we were offensively. Um, and it's not that our defense played bad or our special teams played bad, because they didn't. It's just they didn't give us, the short field they've been doing the entire year.
What about the play of Lowell once you saw that, the video again? What stood out about what he did?
Every time the kid gets in the game, he just brings us down the field and we score touchdowns. He gets better every week, and couldn't happen to a nicer young man. And he prepares. I've said that to y'all all year. All four of those young men are amazing people, and they have a great room. And you can tell they take care of each other, how much they care for each other. And none of them like to be over there on the sideline. They all want to be out there playing. But he got his opportunity and went down there and played, as close to perfect as possible.
I know you don't like to tell us, but I got to ask what your plan is at quarterback this week.
You're right. I'm not going to tell you. And I don't like to be that way, man. I don't at all, because I know you guys have a job to do too. But it's really there's a couple of things at play here. How healthy really is Frank? Frank's a tremendous competitor. I've done some research on him. He's known for telling everybody he's okay and going and playing anyway. That's always hard to read. Two, Lowell, every time he gets put in the game, he plays really, really well. So we'll get with Coach Lunny and the offensive staff, and we'll come up with a plan, and we'll let you guys see it Saturday at around noon.
Okay, Greg, you're up.
Jeff, you mentioned after the game Saturday the mental and physical toll of the season so far. How significant are those concerns at this point?
Very. I'm not going to make us all bad for my kids. I think you know that about me. I love them, but this is an analogy. But we're playing Florida, Alabama, and Georgia. Back to back weeks, as far as the physical toughness of what we've had to go against. I mean, you know how physical UAB is. You know how massively big BYU was. And now you got an Army team that's just, they're different. The best part of their day is football practice. That's the easiest part of their day, is when they go to football practice. That's the worst part of my kids' day. I know those kids love me, but they don't love going to football practice. So that's the mindset. We're going to be smart this week. We got to get our kids, we got conference play after this for 6 games in a row. But we're coming home, and we know we're getting better every week. We know we've got another great opponent. But we enjoy playing well, Greg. We like playing well. We don't like losing, but our kids have gained a real confidence in how well they can play football. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Our best is good enough. We don't need to put on new socks, a different sweatband, do a different warm-up. Just do what we do. Let's just be extraordinary to ordinary. Let's be very physical on defense. Let's take great pride in being a team-run team. And let's kick the football and cover well. And our kids have really bought into that. You saw the forward passing game jump up for us. You saw receivers running some amazing routes and making some really great plays. So we're getting better. I don't know if you guys can really tell. I understand losing is not ever fun, but we're getting better each week.
Is it difficult to prepare for the physicality of these opponents without overworking the kids in practice? How do you strike that balance?
It's tough. I agree. As much physical right now, Greg, I think is mental. What can I do for the troops? Morale of the troops right now is very big. What can the head coach do? What kind of pranks can he play? What can we do to smile? What can we do to keep this thing alive? Football is supposed to be fun. Somewhere along the way, we decided it wasn't supposed to be fun anymore. Football is supposed to be fun. We all went out when we were young, and we all picked teams, and we played, some football. Especially when the Cowboys got through playing on Thanksgiving, we're going to round up the neighborhood, and we're going to go play some ball. And we got to remind these young men that it's still supposed to be fun. And I want to make sure and keep the psychological part is just as important as that physical part.
Yeah, you tied in that mental component. Is there like a cumulative wear and tear of playing so many close games in a row, and how do you address that even beyond what you were just kind of outlining?
We play so many kids, that helps. We rotate a lot of players. And that does help because it keeps competition alive and well. It also takes hits off of people, keeps people fresh. But you can tell the wear and tear by the cast we have out there on the field, and just the kids. We've lost a lot of players, and we just keep having, another man step up. So I think both things are just as important.
Okay, Chris, you're up.
Yeah, obviously this is a game that got added to the schedule in August. Preparing for that triple option and not really having a lot of time to do it. How do you feel about going up against that?
Well, I came here this morning early, real early. I spoke to the Army ROTC. It was still dark. I don't know how early it was, but it was early. And when I came in my office, somebody's already here. And Coach Nix was back there already before me, and he was already watching them. We studied them a lot last night. Your point's very valid. I think our scout team is going to be the most important team of the week. I had all of them stand up in the team meeting last night. They've got to take great ownership in this. It's very hard to duplicate this offense at the speed of the game. It usually takes a couple of series to get used to acclimation of the speed of the game when you play these kind of teams. We can't afford that. We've been in too many close games. We can't waste two series of getting used to the speed of the game. Our scout team's got to come out and give us a great, great look so our defense can get used to the speed of the game right now in practice. You're muted right now, Bubba.
Do you remember the last time you coached against a triple option team?
We played Navy at SMU, and it's always just the frustrating part. Who's going to play quarterback? Who's going to play fullback? You're just basically having everybody raise hands. Okay, who ran option football in high school? And we know pretty much, but which quarterback feels like they can do it the best, and which slots used to all the crazy motions, and which fullbacks used to having the mesh point. Those kind of things are very important. But not having your point, usually, when you know your schedule, you go ahead and game plan all summer long. So when the week comes, you just pull out your folder, go over your calls, let's go plug it in and play. Where we're scrambling, obviously, the whole year has just been that way. And it is what it is.
Okay, Jonas, we'll go to you, and then Hector, you're up next.
Great. Hey, Coach. You mentioned the needing to be how you're going to be smart this week, and also the speed of the game. I think that one player kind of really hits on both sides of the both points for that, and that's Rashaad Wisdom. Of course, we're going to miss him for the first half of this game after another targeting call this last week. How do you kind of coach a young guy with a lot of talent, a lot of speed, a lot of leadership on this team to maybe place those right hits and use that the right part of your body when you're laying a tackle down?
We went over that again. In 1990s, I was coaching in Jacksonville, and one of my favorite players I ever coached was a young man named Raymond Franklin. And Raymond had a habit of dropping his head at times. And I told the team the story of that. And Raymond had an unfortunate incident happen because he ducked his head. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm speaking facts into young men's life. And he needs to see what he hits. He's got to get his face up and see what he hits. I love the way he plays, how hard he plays. He's such a great leader. He is, so inspirational to my players on my team. It was a huge loss again. But for the safety of him, and we all love Rashaad. We want him to – football is going to be over at some point. I told him the story. I coached Josh McCown, and Josh is still in the National Football League, and he's 40, 41. But we hope Josh is going to even outlive how long he played football. There's a lot left after football. So your point's very valid. We need to keep Rashaad safe, and we're coaching that, and Coach Nix and Coach Lepp. All of us are trying to reach him to let him know that we want him to be a great father, a great friend and husband one day. And there's life after football.
Couldn't agree more. A little bit more on this upcoming weekend. The last two opponents to face Army, Citadel, and Abilene Christian have both kind of found different levels of success. Of course, ACU didn't get the win, and Citadel didn't either, but they were able to limit Army's offenses last week to just 2 touchdowns, and even ACU found success through the air. I know you said earlier, speaking to playing your game, and that includes running the football. Running the football was a little bit difficult this last week, with Sincere being limited on, I think, on 11 carries. He had something like 53 yards. How do you move forward against this Army team who does very well against the run as well, with kind of hitting a wall in the backfield?
Well, other people know about our triangle of toughness too now. They're studying us, and they realize we have the leading rusher in the country. So there's obvious throwing lanes out there right now because people are so committed to stopping Sincere. If you'll go back and study the film, the first 2 drives, BYU played their base defense, and we ran the ball right down the field. They made an adjustment. They started putting extra guys in the box, which created some amazing throwing lanes. You don't go 17 for 20 without having some nice places to put it. Now 2 of those throws, he squeezed in there like he put them in there. But the other 15, there were nice lanes created by our offensive line, our tight ends, and our running back because of that mentality that people know we're committed to running the football. So it's a fine line, and that is our culture, and we are going to commit to that. But no one's good enough. I say no one. Earl Campbell, Eric Dickerson, there's guys in the past that have – and Sincere is really, really good. But when there's that many people in there, you got to be able to throw the football and complete it. And we've got great receivers, and we've got quarterbacks that can do that. So we have to be able to your point, adjust a little bit and make some plays with our arm because everybody knows we can block and run.
Thank you, Coach.
Greg.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Greg, you're up.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Hey, Coach, apologies if you touched on this at the very beginning. I jumped in like a minute late or so. You talked a little while ago about the team improving and how it might not be obvious to us. But I think I would say, Coach, that it's pretty obvious, I think, to the common fan that the team is improving and there's a lot going in the right direction. But you also talked about the loss and how it's never really, obviously the goal is to come out every game day with a win. How do you balance that, Coach, given that there is the improvement at the same time maybe you didn't get the result you were looking for?
It's a philosophy. It's something we talk about all the time. Are my kids less today than they were against Texas State or SFA or Middle Tennessee? I would tell you they played better. When you grade our video, our kids played better. Actually, that we played our best game Saturday. So where is that balance? They have to trust you. At the same time, it stings when everybody you see tells you, man, you lost again and great effort, but we didn't win. We're competitors. We want to win. That's where that balance comes in, of teaching young men, doing your best and honoring whatever you believe in, with all your ability, whatever you believe in. That's what real victory is. And we just have enough confidence in our athletes and our coaching staff that if we do our very best and we just keep stacking that on top of each other, that we're going to end up winning more ball games than losing. And I know that sounds crazy, but I gave them the analogy. I love to play basketball. And I know for a fact when there's 1 second left and I'm at the free throw line and I got a 1-and-1 to win the ball game, if all I'm thinking about is, oh my gosh, if I make this free throw, we're going to win the game, I'm fixing to choke it up. Instead of a 15-foot free throw, it's going to be a 14-foot, 10-inch free throw off the front of the rim because I'm going to be too tight. Where if I go up there and go, I'm fixing to trust my technique right now, and I'm going to shoot my very best shot right now, then I'm going to drop buckets. So that's a mindset that we try to teach our players all the time, and we live by it.
Coach, and in expressing that to the players and the team at large, how much is there to be said for context? To go to the 15th ranked team in the country on the road, you guys are dealing with injuries. I'm sure they were too, but you guys are dealing with a bunch of injuries. To come out of there and at the same time, hey, pretty good showing. What's that balance in terms of communicating that to the team and your staff?
We do, but you guys help us on that as well. I've done this long enough. I kind of know how the media is going to generally. You real smart guys out there, it's pretty easy to figure you guys out. I know pretty much when you guys are for us, and I know when you're going to remind – y'all always for us. I know when y'all going to remind us we might not have done what we were supposed to. So I don't have to do a lot of that because they're everywhere they go right now, everybody's telling them how good they did. That's where I have to be careful because we don't need to have this false sense because the objective is still to win the ball game. But we played our very best, so I want to celebrate that. We still show highlight videos. We still are bragging on our kids, and we're still showing the bad video. We're doing both. We don't change our philosophy. But this is where you guys can help me because it does remind my guys that they did go in there with some injuries where no one gave us a chance. 34-point dog. And the critical play, if you go back, we had just executed 4th and 1 on our -41. I was fully expecting Greg to just get all over me for that, and I was shocked he didn't come at me. But we got the first down, and we ran power, and we gained 8 or 9 yards, and momentum had totally flipped. I think all of us were like, uh-oh, we fixed to go down there and do this. And then that yellow hanky came out, and we got that holding penalty. That was a real pivotal turn in the ball game. And we've got to be better. We have to clean up that stuff, penalties on kicking game and critical penalties on critical drives. That's something we can control. We got to be better at.
Thank you, Coach. I think Greg's got his hand raised, so he might not let you off the hook with this one, Coach.
Yeah, we're not done. He's like, I'm coming at you still, brother.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right, Greg, the floor is yours.
And no, I'm good on the 4th down calls and all.
Hey, I just knew I was going to get it.
I did want to ask more about Army and preparing for the triple option there. What is that dynamic like for a coaching staff to have to prepare for something in the triple option that really is not going to be as useful the rest of the year? Is that like frustrating or is it an annoyance to have that at this point?
Opportunity or adversity. Military City, USA, we know how important the Army is to this city. And we understand the importance of that game. And it's worth it. Speaking to the ROTC this morning, the excitement, it's just, I wish the crowd could be there for us. I think that'd be a really cool experience for our kids. But in a football sense, which was your question, it just really gets into, can you do your job? I mean, can you really play the dive? When it's your responsibility to play the quarterback, can you do it? And when it's your responsibility to play the pitch, can you do it? And it sounds so simple, but if you just line up and give them the same look every time, those guys can coach too. So now you got to have change-ups on who's playing the quarterback, who's playing the dive, who's playing the pitch. Not to mention they're really good at cut blocking, and they're coming in there trying to rip your kneecaps off, and you got to be disciplined football, and they wear on you over and over and over. They're going to go for it on fourth down. All those kind of things, it's mental and physical toughness. It's going to be literally that kind of game for us, mental and physical toughness over and over and over.
Some of your defensive guys obviously had the opportunity to face this look last year from Army. Do you know how much of that's going to carry over? Have you gotten a sense of that? I know you're pretty early in the game week prep at this point.
Our guys do speak of that. That does help. Miles Benning came from the Naval Academy, which I know that's not the same, but it's a military school with a similar type of student athlete. And Miles has spoken to our team, about what those guys are like off the field, on the field. And our guys have played them last year. So they understand the incredible amount of discipline and how hard those guys play. So that helps me because I don't have to do all the teaching because our players have experienced it. So that's a really good point.
And you touched on some of the stuff you want to clean up. There was a part where you lined up for a field goal and there were back-to-back false starts there. What happened on that? It's pretty rare to see that. Yeah,
we feel like people are starting to get a pretty good bead on our snap count. So we're trying to get honestly too tricky with our snap counts to try to get the defense off. They're getting closer and closer. People, they want to come after our field goal team. We've got a nice little streak going there. So the other teams are really starting to coach up their team to be the one to try to stop that, right? So we're trying to counter that, Greg, with some snap count variations and maybe some different timing. And we ended up tricking ourselves, which happens quite a bit in football, believe it or not. We overthink stuff. We're in this office too long. My players overcame me, thank goodness. Coach Traylor was trying to be too cute.
Lowell talked a little bit after the game about some of the self-inflicted wounds offensively too. Did you see a lot of that? Do you feel like that's an area you guys need to tighten up?
No, we were way, way better. We cut down our MAs in half from the week before at UAB. Did we have some mistakes? Yes, sir, we did. But that's what I would expect Lowell to say. That's what I love about my guys. Our goal is to play our best. Our best is good enough. And until we do that, you're not going to hear us get on here. And I hope to the day when I get on here and go, man, we just played our very best. That's as good as we can be right there. And we still haven't done that. We're getting closer. That's what he meant. We had 9 penalties in the game. 6 were pre-snap. So we're really clean during the whistle. But those other 6, we've got to stop. We had 2 on the special teams, 2 on offense, and 2 on defense. 2 of those were coaching errors, trying to match personnel, and we just didn't do it fast enough. So I will own 2 of those. I own all of them. They're all a reflection of me. That they're all on me. But we've got 4 other ones we got to get cleaned up.
Okay, anything else for Coach Traylor? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Sorry, man. We're getting closer. God bless.